Morning, how are you?
Did better.
Would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
I'm Tanner's mother. I'm the defendant's mother.
And I'm going to ask you again, how are you doing?
I'm in pain. But I'm working through it.
What kind of pain are you having today?
I've had 2 neck surgeries in last year. And the screws have fallen out and they're working their way down my back as we speak.
Now, Miss Horner, where were you born?
May 3rd, 1971.
Oh, where were you born?
Oh, Fort Worth.
And where were you raised?
Fort Worth.
Did you move around a lot while you were in Fort Worth when you were a child?
Yeah.
How far did you go in school?
No. Not far at all. I think 9th grade.
Did you like school?
No.
Why didn't you like it?
I had a lot of issues in school, at home.
When you were in school, what kind of grades were you making?
I don't remember that, Susan. I don't.
Okay. Did you ever want to go to college?
Oh, sure. Yes, I did.
And Ms. Horner, you're also very soft-spoken, so if you can try to, and I know you're in some pain, but if you can keep your voice up for us and use the microphone as much as possible, that'll make it easier for the jury to hear what you have to say.
Is that better?
Much.
Okay.
We were talking about you wanting to go to college. Did you ever make it to college?
I did when I got sober in 2014. I did.
And how was that for you?
I did good. I had an essay published in Blueprint.
You had an essay published?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what kind of essay?
It was a simile metaphor. A simile and metaphor essay.
What was it about?
The oppression of Muslim women.
So, where was this essay published?
Oh, in TCC. Or it was TCJC at the time.
Is that Tarrant County Community College?
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, when you were a young girl, what did you want to do with your life?
I don't remember having dreams. I didn't have a good childhood.
Your Honor, I'm going to... May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Actually, Ms. Horner, I'm going to hand you what has already been admitted into evidence as defense exhibits 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, and 62. And we're going to be using these throughout your testimony, okay?
Okay. Oh, Lord.
You have published, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is that in states number 55, or defense exhibit number 55?
That would be me.
How old were you there?
Maybe 8, 9.
Well, Ms. Horner, I want to talk to you a little bit about your upbringing, okay? Who is your mother?
Jackie Harbison.
What kind of mother was Jackie?
Excuse me?
What kind of mother was Jackie?
A very nurturing mother. Not very protective, but nurturing.
Did she ever leave you alone as a child?
Yeah.
How old were you when she would leave you alone?
Not, I mean, what do you mean alone?
Well, if she left you at home by yourself, how did she often leave you at home by yourself?
When she was working, yeah.
And how old were you?
About 6.
About 6?
Mm.
So at the age of 6, she would leave you at home alone?
Yeah.
Did you have any brothers or sisters there with you?
No, not at the time.
Did you have a stepfather or any cousins or relatives to stay with you?
I'm not sure about the age, but like, until my mom got married, I was alone, and then I had 2 step brothers and sisters.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're back online now. Sorry. Okay, so Ms. Warner, we were talking about your mother. You had said that she was nurturing, but not always. Do you feel that your mother met all of your emotional needs as a child?
Objection, lady. I'll let her leave. Go ahead.
And I'll repeat the question. Do you feel that your mother, Jackie, met all of your emotional needs?
She tried. She's very young. She tried. I don't think I did, no. I don't think they were. She turned 16 the day after she had me, so, you know.
So a child having a child?
Right.
And Ms. Horner, I want to talk to you a little bit about your father. Did your mother and father remain married after having you?
No, ma'am, they didn't.
And how old were you when they divorced?
1 year old.
At some point, did your mother remarry?
Yes.
And how old were you when they remarried?
5 or 6.
Did you like your new stepfather?
No.
Why not?
Um,
Okay, Ms. Horner. Did your stepfather abuse you?
yes.
How did he abuse you?
First time he abused me, they weren't even married. I was 4 when he tried to have sex with me.
And this was before that you got married?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell anyone?
Yes, I did.
Who did you tell?
My mother.
Even though you had told your mother that the man she was with at the time had abused you, did she break up with him?
No, she didn't believe me.
She didn't believe you?
I think he told her, because he had put something on a rag to make me pass out. And she asked him what that smell was, and I think he said it perfume, or he spilled perfume on me and he had to clean it up or something. I don't know what he said. She believed him over me.
And even though he abused you, did they still get married?
Yes, ma'am.
After they married, did abuse stop?
No, ma'am.
Was the abuse constant through the marriage, or was it at different times?
It was not constant. I think he felt lucky that I didn't die. And he quit for a while.
So during the time that your stepfather was abusing you, did you tell your mother about it?
Yeah. Yeah, I used to put like a note on my door, whoever's coming in my room at night, and please stop.
Did that person stop?
No. No.
At any point, were you able to report this abuse to anyone? Or let me rephrase that, to anyone who believed you?
Well, when I was 14, they sent me to rehab because I was smoking weed. And I came out then.
When you got out of rehab, were there any conditions placed upon your household for your release?
Yeah, my mom had to leave Larry. Washington. My mom had to leave my perpetrator.
And that was your stepfather?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You had mentioned that you had gone to rehab because you were smoking weed. Why were you smoking weed at the time?
I'm not sure. I guess it was helping me.
Helping you what?
I self-medicate. I found a way to escape my own head.
And when you say you found a way to escape your own head, was that because of the abuse?
Yes.
You were sent to rehab when you were 14. How old were you when you first started smoking marijuana?
I guess about 14.
Were you using any other kinds of drugs?
No, not at the time.
You had mentioned that you had gone to rehab. While you were in the rehab, did you have any counseling related to the sexual abuse?
Yes.
Did that help?
I don't remember. Probably not.
And Ms. Horn, I want to fast forward a little bit. You had mentioned that you had dropped out of school. How old, or that you didn't finish school? How old were you when you dropped out?
That was a lot of weed ago. I don't remember. I just don't. I'm sorry. There's a lot of things I don't remember.
That's okay. That's okay. Were you still a teenager?
Yes.
Without saying what your mother told you, how did she feel about you dropping out of school?
I don't remember her saying anything.
Well, after you dropped out, how did you earn a living?
Jack in the Box at first, and then Wendy's, and then Sinbad's and Illusions.
What is Sinbad's?
It's a club.
Or what kind of club is that?
A topless bar.
So after you dropped out of school, did you start stripping?
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
It seemed to fit in with my life pretty perfectly. You know?
I'm sorry?
It seemed to fit in with my life, you know? That's what I think when you're abused at such a young age, it becomes a self-concept, you know, this is what I'm here for. I wish I hadn't. I really wish I hadn't, but I did.
Now, did your mother ever discourage you from working in a strip club?
No, I don't remember that either. She's not a bad mother. I don't want anything bad about my mom.
So how long did you work in the strip clubs?
12 years. Till I turned 30.
So if it was 12 years when you turned 30, you were about 17 or 18 when you started?
Yes, ma'am.
When you first started working in the clubs, was it easy for you to go up on that stage?
Oh, no. No.
What did you do to get up the courage to go up there?
Drink heavily.
What did you drink?
Jack and Coke, mostly.
At any time did you have to use drugs in order to go up on the stage?
Yes.
What kind of drugs did you use during that period?
Meth.
Meth?
Mm-hmm.
About how old, if you remember, were you when you started using the meth?
I don't know.
At some point, did you start using even heavier drugs than meth?
Yes.
What drugs did you start using?
When was this? Just later on?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I've done everything. I mean, heroin.
Is that your drug of choice?
Yes.
How long have you been using heroin?
It was about 25 years.
When you first started using heroin, how did you use it? Was it snorted? Was it?
Yeah. Yes. A little pill.
I'm sorry?
A little pill, snorted.
And did you ever start shooting heroin?
Yes.
When you started using heroin, how did that make you feel when you took it?
A lot better.
Why do you say that?
Because I have a movie that plays in my head every day. Every day, without fail. And it gets rid of it. Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
You're fine, Miss Horner, you're fine. The movie that you said that is playing in your head, what kind of movie is it? Is it a comedy, a romance, a horror film? What kind of movie is it?
It's my past. It's my abuse. It plays in my head every day.
Does the heroin take that away?
Yes, it does.
Is that why you still use it?
I'm on methadone now.
You're on methadone now?
Yeah.
Ms. Horner, I want to talk to you a little bit about your own personal mental health struggles, okay?
Okay.
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness?
Bipolar disorder and schizoaffective.
Have you ever been diagnosed with PTSD?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Have you ever been diagnosed with ADHD?
No.
When did you start having mental health issues?
I wasn't even aware I had them till They told me I did.
Who was they?
The doctors,
Oh, why did you go see doctors?
because I was at my wit's end. I wanted to die
Why did you want to die?
because I can't do nothing right.
Ms. Horner, when you went to go see the doctors and they diagnosed you with bipolar and schizoaffective, were you also prescribed any medications?
Of course.
Did they help?
They seemed to for a while, but I don't believe in medicine like that.
Did the medications, well, let me ask it this way. For you, and in your opinion, which helped you more? The medications that the doctors prescribed or the drugs that you were taking?
I'm not sure. I didn't really give the dummy drugs a try, a chance, you know. I really didn't. I didn't give it a chance.
Well, Ms. Horner, you had stated that you felt that you were at your wit's end and that you couldn't do anything right. Did you ever attempt to take your own life?
Yes,
How did you do that?
with heroin.
Was it an intentional overdose?
Yeah. Yes.
And what happened after you had this overdose?
They, I don't know. I was out, but I woke up in the hospital and left.
Do you recall how old you were at the time?
No, ma'am, I do not. I don't remember. I'm really terrible at dates, ages. Sorry.
Was it before or after Tanner was born?
After.
Let's talk about Tanner for a moment, okay?
Sure.
Tanner's your son, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Who's his father?
Terry Horner.
Was Terry Horner your husband as well?
Yes, he was.
Now, Ms. Horner, how did you two meet?
In the bar I was working at, Sinbad's at the time.
Do you recall how old you were?
17,
Did you recall how old he was?
29.
Tell the jury about the night that you and Terry met. What was that like?
The first night we met, he raped me. There.
That night, did he ever hit you?
Yes, he did.
Tell me about that. What happened?
Well, he asked me to go back to his room and do a line, and I said, okay. And I went, and he was trying to fill me up. I said no, and he knocked me out and made me do what he wanted.
Now, in spite of the beating and the rape, did you still continue to see Terry?
Yes, I did. I married him.
So even though he beat you and raped you the first night that y'all met, you still fell in love with him?
It wasn't love. But yeah, I married him.
Well, why do you say it wasn't love?
I mean, it goes back to what I thought I was about.
Well, how old were you when you married Terry Warner?
19.
You told us that he had abused you before you got married. Did that abuse stop once you became his wife?
It stopped after the first night. I mean, he never hit me again until when I decided to leave him.
When you and Terry were married, did you ever do drugs together?
Oh yeah,
Of what kind?
meth.
And how often would y'all do drugs?
Not much, not too many times. We had rent to pay.
Did you and Terry ever separate?
Once.
Did you ever divorce?
Once.
Well, are you officially divorced from him?
Yes. No.
Are you still married to Terry Warner?
Yes, I am. He's deceased.
I was just about to ask that.
Posthumously married.
What happened to Terry?
He got killed by a lady on a motorcycle.
When did that happen?
2 years ago?
Did that happen while Tanner was still in jail?
Yes.
I want to talk to you a little bit about your life before Terry and before your pregnancy with Tanner. Had you been pregnant before your pregnancy with Tanner?
Mm-mm.
Had you ever been pregnant? Was Tanner your first pregnancy?
No, he wasn't.
How many times before had you been pregnant?
Is there anything I can refuse to answer?
You want to rephrase?
I'll move on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your pregnancy with Tanner, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
When you became pregnant with Tanner, were you still dancing?
Yes, I was.
And when you became pregnant with Tanner, were you still drinking alcohol?
Till I found out I was pregnant.
How far?
But by that time, I was already like 8.5 weeks.
So you didn't find out you were pregnant until about 8.5 weeks in?
Yes, ma'am.
And during that 8.5 weeks, you drank on a regular basis?
Section B over on the letter B.
Yes, I was.
How often would you drink?
I drank pretty heavily. Enough to get cirrhosis.
You currently have cirrhosis?
Yes, I do.
Once you learned that you were pregnant, did you stop drinking?
Yes.
And why did you stop drinking when you found out?
Because I wanted my baby to be healthy.
Before learning you were pregnant, did you smoke cigarettes?
Yes.
After you discovered you were pregnant with Tanner, did you stop smoking cigarettes?
No.
What about marijuana? Did you continue to smoke marijuana throughout your pregnancy?
You know, I did a little bit because I was throwing up every day, and it helped.
It helped with the morning
It
sickness?
really did. And I hate to say that, but I did.
Before learning that you were pregnant with Tanner, did you continue to use other drugs?
No.
So at the time that you found out you were pregnant, you were just smoking marijuana and drinking?
Oh, no. Before I found out I was pregnant,
So during that about 8 to 9 week period?
Yeah, I was doing everything.
And what do you mean by everything?
I mean, anything I can get my hands on. I mean, I didn't go out looking for it, but it was always coming into the club. And, it's not a good lifestyle. It's not. But I did try to stop whenever I found out I was pregnant.
Once you found out that you were pregnant with Tanner, did you continue to work at Flood?
But I mean, just for like a couple more weeks.
And I totally forgot to ask, but is Tanner your firstborn?
Yes,
Do you have any other children?
yes.
When was that child born? Not his birth date, but how long after Tanner was your second child?
10
born?
years.
So they're 10 years apart?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk about the birth of Tanner. Were you able to carry him to term?
Past term.
Past term? How late was he?
He was 3 weeks, and we still had to use Pitocin because an induce. He wasn't coming out. He set up shop.
How long were you in labor the night that he was born?
Wow, I think it was a little over 3 weeks. And then, no, it was difficult pregnancy.
When he actually decided to be born, were there any complications during that period?
Well, yeah, he had gotten so big. I mean, I have a long torso, so I think that's why he had a lot of room to grow, but he had gotten so big that he ruptured, not ruptured, but tore a little leak in my sac, so I was leaking water. I went to the hospital and they sent me home. We'll come back in whenever. So then they had to keep him for 2 days because the infection that he said he probably had because of that. He had a hard time coming out, so they put this string on his head to pull him out. Not forceps. It was like a...
Like a suction cup?
Yeah, kind of. Like that. Mm-hmm.
All right, so after Tanner was born, and he's cleaned up, and he's wrapped up in his blanket, and put in your arms, what were your first thoughts when you looked down into his face?
He looks like his dad. Yeah.
Were you happy to be a mom?
Yeah. I was happy to have my kids.
And why were you so happy to be a mother?
It just changed everything from, wasn't about just me anymore.
Where were you living at the time that Tanner was born?
White settlement.
Were you living with Terry? Were you living with your mother? Who were you living with?
With Terry, in White settlement.
How long after you came home from the hospital with Terry? Well, let me ask it this way: Did he stay around? Did Terry stay around?
Yeah, he did.
How long?
Couldn't get him to leave.
I'm sorry.
I couldn't get him to leave and get a job or anything.
At some point, though, you two separated and broke up. How long after Tanner had been born did y'all break up?
2 years. 2 years.
You had mentioned before, and you told the jury that before you had found out that you were pregnant, you were doing drugs, but then had quit the drugs when you found out you were pregnant. After Tanner was born, were you able to stay sober?
I've never been able to stay sober. I mean, it's just the truth.
Well, how old was Tanner when he started using again?
This is embarrassing. It really is.
I'm sorry.
Probably about 2.
What made you go back to using?
I don't know.
When you went back, were you using the same kind of drugs, the heroin and the meth and the
I
marijuana?
hadn't started heroin.
You hadn't started
Yet,
heroin
no.
yet? Okay. So was it just the meth and the marijuana and the drinking?
Yes. Cocaine.
Did your drug use increase over time?
Yes.
Were you able to keep a job?
No.
And do you think that was because of the drugs?
Yes.
Had you ever lost a job because of your drug use?
No. I could never keep a job. I think my bipolar has a lot to do with it. I don't know why I can't.
With, you had mentioned that you had gone back to using drugs when Tanner was 2 years old. Do you know if he ever saw you using drugs?
Yeah, he did.
Tell me about that.
It was sad. I nodded out one time on the toilet. I mean, I was just like, I wasn't using the bathroom or anything. I had done what I was doing. And I just nodded out. And Tanner came in. He was just a little guy. And he thought I was dead. He went in there and he told Mom, Mama's dead. And
How'd that make you feel?
terrible. It's terrible.
Do you think your drug use at that time affected your ability to be a mother to Tanner?
There were several times when I knew I was out of control.
Have you ever been arrested because of your drug use?
Yes.
What were you arrested for?
Drugs, prostitution. There's about no violent crimes. I've never victimized anybody.
You mentioned that you were arrested for prostitution. How many times have you been arrested for that?
I don't remember. Quite a few.
Did you ever go to prison behind any of the drug charges?
Yes, I did.
Before going to prison, were you offered the ability to do any sort of rehab?
Yeah, Judge, I went to Azle and Judge Carr put me in the Green Light Ministries. I piloted that program, actually.
I'm sorry?
I piloted that program. It was for women with mental health issues that want to get out of that way of life.
So tell me more about that. What was Green Light about? What was it like?
It gave you a foothold and tried to get you started on a clean life. It was really a good program.
Did you complete the program?
No, I fell in love again and I quit.
While you were at the program, was that an inpatient or an outpatient?
It was residential. Mm-hmm.
Were you able to have Tanner there with you?
Yes. Well, he visited there.
Where was he living when you were at Green Light Ministries?
In Lake Worth, Lakeside.
And who was he living with?
My mom.
Were there any other rehab facilities that you went to?
Nexus. First Choice. I went to all of them.
So let's talk about First Choice. When you were with at First Choice, was that a residential program as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to bring Tanner with you?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, was your other child born?
The first time he wasn't. The second time he was.
I want to show you what has been admitted as Defense Exhibit 56. Where was this taken?
Like Nexus.
At the Nexus? And who are the people in the photo?
Me standing up, my grandmother, Mary, sitting down on the left, and Tanner is between me and my mother.
And so that's your mother on the right?
Right. Jackie.
Ms. Warner, were you ever able to, in spite of all the times that you went to rehab, were you ever able to stay clean?
Sporadic times.
Sporadically?
Yeah. I always wanted to. I had the want to, but just couldn't do it.
What do you think kept you from being successful and staying clean?
I'm hard-headed, and I really am. And I don't take suggestions like I should. I need to go get some help and take a pill that they want me to take, but I have a hard time doing that. Yeah.
When you were at these rehab facilities, you had said that Tanner stayed with your mother.
Some of them. Sometimes he went with me.
How was your mom as a grandmother?
We better ask Tanner that.
Well, from what you could see, was she a good grandma?
Yes.
She loved Tanner?
She spoiled him. I mean, both of them were just spoiled rotten.
And even though you were in these rehab facilities, did you still try to be present as a parent in Tanner's life?
Absolutely.
How did you do that?
I mean, if I wasn't there, I always made sure they had insurance and, had stuff. I always wanted them to be taken care of because, I wasn't taken care of as a child very well. And where I wasn't, I always wanted them to be.
And that was with your mom?
Mm-hmm. She was just really young.
So for the times that you were able to spend with Tanner and your other son, and when you were able to stay clean, did you enjoy being a mom?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your favorite part about being a mother?
Like going to the park with my kids and hacky sack and frisbee.
Melissa, Miss Warner, I'm sorry. I want to show you what has been offered as Defense Exhibit 57. Who is this?
It's me and Tanner.
Do you know how old he was in this picture?
About one or two.
Let's look at Defense Exhibit number 58. Who is that?
That's Tanner.
Do you know how old he is in this picture?
About 3.
Defense Exhibit number 59. Who is this?
That's Tanner.
And about how old is he in this picture?
Really, about 7.
And what about Defense Exhibit number 60? Is that also Tanner?
Yes.
Know about how old he is there?
13. Maybe.
Now we have Defense Exhibit number 61. Can you describe what's going on in this picture?
I'm giving him sugars, and my other son is watching.
You mentioned your other son. Was Tanner excited to be a big brother?
Was Tanner?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he was a little jealous, actually.
Okay. As most big brothers and big siblings are.
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to be the baby, so.
yeah.
We talked about your rehab, we've talked about your drug use, we've talked about your mental health. I want to talk to you a little bit about your physical health. You had said that you had had the neck surgery, but other than that, has your drug use caused you to have any other medical problems?
Cirrhosis, for sure. Yeah.
Were you, anything else? Have you recently been in the hospital for anything? Or have you had to go to the hospital for an extended period of time?
Yeah, because of my neck. I was in there for 7 weeks.
Because of the drug use, have you had to go to the hospital over the years to be treated for things?
I don't remember that. No.
Have you ever left the hospital against medical advice?
Oh, yeah.
Why is that?
Probably because of pain management.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean you left the hospital because of pain management?
Well, you know how they are with opioids, and they don't, that's what helps my pain, and they have a thing about that now.
When you left the hospital against medical advice, was it to go get opioids?
Yes.
And by opioids, do you mean heroin?
Yes.
Do you know about how many times you left the hospital in order to get heroin?
Just like once, I think.
And Ms. Horner, I want to switch gears again, and I want to talk a little bit about Tanner as a child, okay? And please, I know that you're in pain. Let me know when you need a break, okay?
Okay.
When Tanner was a child, did you ever notice anything about him that made you feel that he was, I don't know, different from other children?
Yes. Yes.
What kinds of things did you notice?
He didn't get along with, he wanted to get along with people, but they just weren't interested in having conversations with him and having him around. It was sad to watch. Very sad. They didn't like him at all.
How old was he when you first started to notice these things?
Probably when he started school.
Did any of this cause you any concern?
Oh, so sad to watch.
What types of things would you see?
I mean, he wouldn't say things like they did. He didn't talk the way they did. And it isn't like I could hear what they're saying, but you can tell by looking at their faces, they're like, he didn't know how to talk to them the way.
Did you see him having this trouble with other people? How did it make you feel when you saw your son having such difficulty interacting with children his own age?
I wanted to go get him help, see what's wrong.
Did you go get him help?
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
I took him over here to the Child Study Center, and I think they rigorously tested him for about 6 weeks, I think. And
after they tested him, were they able to come up with a diagnosis?
Asperger's syndrome.
Did he have any other medical diagnoses during his childhood?
Well, they would call it, they kept telling me it was ADHD, but it wasn't. They're always trying to treat him for something he didn't have. And the medicine would always change him and make him something he wasn't.
With the diagnoses that he received, did you try to get Tanner services?
Yeah.
What kind of services did you try to get him?
Well, because he was struggling in school, and I didn't want him to lead like I did. And I would go to art meetings, and we set up a classroom, the classroom to where it was more of a learning experience for him.
Were you able to get him any Social Security benefits?
Yes.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
We were talking about Tanner's diagnoses. One of those diagnoses that you had mentioned was Asperger's. Did you ever see Tanner have any, I guess what I mean is meltdowns when he was younger?
Yes.
How often did these meltdowns occur?
It would depend on whether he could get his point across.
Mm-hmm.
He was having trouble communicating.
Were the meltdowns his way of communicating?
No, when he couldn't communicate. It was just my personal feeling. When he was having trouble communicating, he would melt down.
Let's talk some more about these meltdowns. When did you first notice Tanner having these meltdowns?
Well, I thought they were temper tantrums first, but it got so much more violent. He would,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
he would like punch himself in the head real hard.
Well, you said he punched himself in the head. Do you know if he ever punched himself out or lost consciousness because of that?
Seems like he would, but no, he didn't.
When he had these meltdowns, you said that you felt that it was his frustration with not being able to communicate. When he had the meltdowns and got angry, did he direct the anger towards anyone else, or was it always directed at himself?
I'm sure it was just himself, really.
Did you ever see him direct his anger at anyone?
He never tried to hit anybody.
Did he ever try to hit you?
No.
Did you ever see him try to hit his grandmother?
No.
Did you ever see him hit a wall?
Yeah.
What would he hit the wall with?
His fist.
Would he ever break things?
Yes.
But you never saw him exhibit anger towards yourself?
No, not really.
At what age did he begin hitting himself in the head?
That was after he was getting bullied in school.
I'm sorry?
When he started getting bullied in school.
Tanner was bullied while he was in school?
Oh, terribly.
Did you ever see any of the bullying happen?
No, I would want to go up there and save him, but he would never let me. He would never let me go up there. He said I would make it worse, but no, I wanted to.
What kind of bullying did you see happen?
I didn't see it.
Your Honor, she just stated she didn't see it herself.
Did you see Tanner get bullied at any time?
Not at school. His grandfather did sometimes.
You saw his grandfather bully him?
I saw his grandfather bully him sometimes.
So let's talk about his grandfather. Who was his grandfather?
Bill Harbison?
He was married to your mother, Jackie?
Yes. Can I refrain from using names, please?
How about we call him grandfather?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. How long were your mother and second stepfather, married?
30 years.
At any time did you and Tanner live with them?
The majority.
Or when you say the majority, what do you mean by the majority?
The majority of Tanner's life.
The majority of Tanner's life?
Yes.
How did you, or why did you move in with your mother and stepfather?
When I left Terry, I was scared
Why were you scared?
because his dad stopped me for a long time, and I got scared, and I moved in there because I was watched better.
So you were afraid that your husband would hurt you? But you said he stopped you. How did he stop you?
He would sit across the street from my work and like follow me home and stuff like that.
Did you fear for your safety?
Well, yeah.
Did you fear for Tanner's safety?
No, not at that time.
Did you think that Terry would ever hurt Tanner?
No.
Was he a good father?
He loved his dad. His dad loved him.
Was his father able to be there for him throughout his life?
Sometimes.
When Terry wasn't able to be there for Tanner, typically where was he?
I don't know.
Do you know if he ever went to prison?
Yes.
How often or how many times did Terry go to prison?
Twice.
Do you recall for how long?
No.
When you went to go live with your mother and your stepfather, you brought Tanner with you, is that right?
Yes, I did.
How'd that go over with your mom and stepfather? Did they like having you there?
Yeah, they did, actually.
Did you have a good relationship with your mother at the time?
Well, I was doing my own thing. And, I really did it because I was having support with him. It was hard trying to do it on my own.
Is it difficult being a single mom?
Absolutely.
And were you doing the best you could?
Yes, but I could have done a lot better. I know that.
Someone once said that it takes a village. Is that what you found with your mother and stepfather?
Yes.
So let's talk about your relationship with your stepfather.
Which one?
With the most recent one.
Okay.
When you were living with your mother and the stepfather.
Okay.
When Tanner was born. Is it okay if I call him Mr. Harbison? Without using first names?
Just, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And whatever makes you more comfortable, I will address him whichever way.
Go ahead.
Okay. With, how was your relationship with Mr. Harbison?
He was, well, he was a Vietnam veteran. He was very gung-ho and he very disciplined. And I wasn't.
How old were you at the time that you moved in?
Well, when him and my mom got together, at first I was 17.
And then when you moved back in with Tanner, how old were you?
Probably about 20, 21.
Did you and your mother's husband ever get into any arguments?
Oh yeah, it was a lot of them. Huh?
Did any of them ever happen in front of Tanner?
Yeah, several.
Now, when we're talking about arguments, are we talking about disagreements or full-on yelling matches?
I mean, we would yell, but, you know, I'm not proud of anything I did. I'm not. I wear my shame like a badge now. You know.
Well, did any of the arguments that you had with your mother's husband, did they ever turn physical?
Yes. Yeah, he did. He ripped my other son out of my arms one time. And I couldn't believe he did that.
How old was he at the time?
Me?
Your son, when that happened?
The other one?
Yes.
I think he was like 3 or 4 when that happened.
Did any of these physical fights ever happen in front of Tanner?
Yeah, I mean, one time, well, just that one, I think, Tanner had already grown up, and, I mean, I had never really had anybody take up for me before, you know, and, Tanner's a pretty big guy, you know, then he was growing, and Bill tackled me in the front yard, and he started to put his fingers in my eyes like that, because he was mad at me, and he wasn't going to do that. All of a sudden, I feel, and Bill was pretty stout, and I feel him just get lifted off of me. I looked up at Tanner and picked him up, and picked him up off of me. I was like, wow, I have somebody taking up for me, but yeah, that's something Tanner shouldn't have seen as a child either, but my...
Yeah. What about the relationship between your stepfather and Tanner? How was that?
I think Tanner kind of worshipped him. Really liked him a lot, but Bill was mean to him.
What do you mean by mean? How was Bill mean to him?
That would be something you don't need to ask my mom. She knows more about that, so I'm going to let my mom answer that.
Did you ever witness any of it?
No, not really.
Melissa, are you a grandmother?
Yes, I am.
How many grandchildren do you have?
Just one.
And who is that? Well, we're not going to say names.
Yeah, please. Huh?
Is it a granddaughter or grandson?
Grandson?
How old's your grandson?
Almost 4. Where's 4?
Who is the father of your grandson?
Tanner.
Were you around when Tanner learned that he was going to be a father?
Yes.
How did he react when he learned that he was going to be a dad?
He was very excited.
And were you around when your grandson was born?
Yeah, I was around.
How did Tanner react when his son was born?
He's just happy. I mean, everybody is, you know. Their babies are born.
Based on your observations of Tanner and his son, did he look like he enjoyed being a father?
He was a new father, you know. He'd never had a kid before, so he was scared. It scared him, you know. He was scared.
What do you mean by scared?
Like one day he goes, "Mom, please come I need you to take the baby for a little bit." He was scared, I think, of hurting the baby.
Did you watch Tanner and your grandson together often?
No, I didn't get to see him very much because all this happened.
Were there times when you did get to spend with your grandson?
I got to spend a few days with him.
Your Honor, I'd like to publish what has been admitted as defense exhibit number, I believe it was 58? 54, I'm sorry. Defense exhibit number 54.
All right.
Good boy. Good boy. Yeah. Yeah.
Melissa, what did we just see a picture or video of?
His first steps.
Was that you also in the video?
Yes. I think Cassie was taking the picture.
Who is Cassie?
Oh, sorry. His ex-girlfriend.
Were Tanner and Cassie living together when this video was taken?
Yes.
At any time did Tanner and Cassie live in the same house with you or at the same residence as you and your mom?
Behind the residence. Yes.
Did you have the opportunity to observe the relationship?
Not really. No. He
Did
was
you ever
working
talk-
most of the time. He was working most of the time. And she had the baby, or the mom did.
Now, leading up to November the 30th of 2022, do you know whether Cassie and Tanner had been having any problems in the relationship?
Oh yeah, Tanner, before that, not long before that, actually, Tanner came up to me almost in tears. He said, "Mom, I don't know what to do. She's spending my money faster than I can make it."
Did, without going into what Tanner may have said, did he have other concerns about the relationship?
Not really. I mean, he wanted them to be together, you know, but he didn't want. I don't think he felt like he could keep up with it, with the whole thing.
Yeah, you've known Tanner all of his life. Did the issues with Cassie and the finances, based on your observations, did that appear to cause him distress or stress?
Yes, he had finally found a girl to stay with, you know, that would stay with him. And he really wanted to keep her, you know. He was treated pretty bad.
Ms. Horner, I want to talk to you about the incident itself, the reason why we are here today. You understand that your son has pled guilty to kidnapping and killing Athena Strand, right?
Yes.
And you know some of the facts and information surrounding what may have occurred during the incident. Is that right?
Yes.
Knowing that he pled guilty to this, are you angry with him?
I'm so mad at him. I want to just tear his ass up.
light of everything that you know about this case, do you still love your son?
Of course I love my son. I don't love who did that, though. I don't know who that was.
I'll take the witness, Your Honor.
You okay? Do you need to take a few minutes?
I need to go to the bathroom just for a second.
No, it's okay.
Back in February of last year, 2025, you were in the hospital, correct?
Yes, it was.
And at that time, did Liz Anderson, the defense attorney, and myself do what's called a deposition, where we ask you some questions, kind of like we're doing here in the court today?
Yes.
Okay, you remember that, right?
Yes.
And so I just want to tell you, I kind of know you a little bit more than just from what you've said here today, because we spent several hours talking at that time, correct?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to kind of try to just quickly go through a few things. You had a difficult childhood that you described for the jury here. And there came a point when you needed a place to go, right?
Yes.
When you separated from Terry.
Yes.
And where did you go?
To my mom's.
And that was home for you, correct?
Yeah.
And from the point that you went to your mom's, when you separated from Terry, when Tanner was 2 years old, was that Tanner's home, essentially, from that point forward?
Well, I dragged him in and out. You know, I took him to several residential facilities, trying to get it right. I really did try.
And I understand that. You always knew, he always knew, that that was his home where he could go back to, correct?
Yes.
And when you lost your sobriety, at times where you would go off on your own and leave, where would Tanner be?
At home.
Okay. And home was where?
With my mom.
Okay. And who else?
Bill.
Okay. And did Tanner have a name for your mom and for Bill?
Mimi and Papa.
Okay. And when we talked before in February of 2025, you said that Papa was a good Papa to them.
Yeah.
Tell us what kind of things made him a good Papa.
Well, he showed discipline, you know, took him fishing.
Did you teach him how to do things?
As far as I know, yeah.
Mow the lawn, things like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have expectations of him, of Tanner, and your other son as well?
Yes.
And there were rules in the house that they had to follow.
Yes.
And your mom, was she a good and a loving provider for those boys?
Yes.
And knowing that, that they had a safe and good place to live, did that make you feel better about everything?
Yes, we did.
And did you always feel that Tanner and your other son, I won't call him by name, but that they were safe there with Mimi and Papa?
Yes.
Okay. And that Mimi and Papa were going to provide them with the support that they needed, even if you weren't in the picture.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
And then there would be times where you would come home as well, right?
Right.
And how would things change when that happened?
Well, I would be, you know, sorry that I was gone, and once again I was gone, and I'm almost sorry, and Bill would give me the talk, and you know.
But were you essentially welcomed back into the family?
Sure.
And
Well, they know I was a good mother. They knew when I was around I was a good mother.
that you loved your sons.
Absolutely.
Right. But as far as their schooling and whatever benefits that they might be receiving, who was the person handling those kind of things for the most part?
Me.
You?
Me.
Okay, so who would be handling it when you were not there?
Now, my mother, I would get the insurance for him because my mother was working at the time. She couldn't. And me and the boys were staying behind, so in the back. So it would work out like that.
And with regard to the time that all this went down, you were living there. Bill had passed away some time ago, correct?
Yeah.
Papa.
About 4 years ago.
Papa had passed away. When was that?
About 4 years ago.
And after that, were you living there with your mom in the house?
Yes.
And was your other son also in the house?
Yes. Could we not talk about him, please?
I'm not going to.
He doesn't want me to talk about him.
Okay, I understand. But as far as the people that were living in the house, it was the three of you. And where was Tanner living?
In the back.
And do you call that the shed, what do you call that? Bedroom?
Pigsty.
Oh, big side?
Yeah.
Why do you call it a big side?
Because he doesn't know how to clean. It's a terrible cleaner.
But has, over the years, that place has been cleaned and then made dirty again?
Yeah.
Cleaned
I mean, I would go back there and do what I could, but it would get so trashed so fast. So I don't know.
Understood. So let's talk about Tanner and his, what the things that he did. Was Tanner, did he graduate from high school?
Yes.
Okay. Was he into music?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's his thing.
Did he play musical instruments?
Yeah, he plays everything.
Guitar?
Yeah, if he picks up an instrument, he can master it.
Does he sing?
No.
Does he try to sing?
He tries to sing.
Okay. Did he play keyboard?
Yeah.
Does he mix his own music on the computer?
Yeah, he's pretty good at that.
Does he play a lot of video games?
No.
So he had interests similar to other people, correct?
Right.
Now let's talk about in high school. Did he participate in the wrestling team?
Yes, he did.
Did you go and watch him do that?
Yeah, I went once or twice.
When he was little, did he play in little league games, things like
Yes,
that?
he did.
So he was able to be on a team and participate just like other kids, correct?
Well, I mean, he tried.
Well, he was part of the team, right?
Yeah, it didn't last long, though, but he tried. And I always told him, as long as you try.
And when they did the practice for the bands, did they do it often at your house or back at Tanner's room behind you?
My neighbors didn't like that too much, so they had to do it somewhere else. Because my neighbors didn't like that.
But Tanner was a part of several different bands, do you agree?
Yes.
So in that respect, he was working with other young men, same age as himself or around that age? Is that
So
right?
they got
Did you ever
freaked out on him.
Did you ever express any concerns other than just the loudness of the music about what was going on back there during the band practice?
What was going on back? I don't know what was going on back there. I don't.
Let me ask you. I want to talk to you about this particular case. I'm not gonna. I want you to know, understand your life situation is not being easy, and I know this has not made it easier. But I want to ask you what your understanding is of what happened in this case.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Overall, letter.
Okay, could you say that again, please?
What is your understanding of what happened in this case?
At first or after, right now?
Well, let's talk about it at first.
Well, at first I believed in what my son told me.
And what did he tell you?
That he had backed into a little girl, he panicked and strangled her.
And so you said at first I believed that, and now do you believe something different?
Yes, I do.
And have you been watching the live streams of the
Don't get me thrown in jail.
What was that?
Am I going to go to jail for that? No. Yes, I have.
Okay. You're not in trouble. I'm just asking if you have had the ability to watch the trial.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So now that you've seen those things, what is your understanding about what happened?
I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say.
I'll pass it.
Regret.
I'm sorry.
Regret.
Your Honor, I have nothing further.
This witness be excused.
No, no.
You don't have to keep excusing. I already need to go to the hospital, so can we finish?
We're done. We're done. We're done.
Okay, thank you.
Who do you have next?
We have Dottie.
Okay. I think the next, is she back here or out there?
I believe she is in the back. I will check with.
Yes,